This is Flat Out Agility, an Australian agility podcast. I'm Grace. In this episode, I'm joined by Tanya McAndrew, the manager for the Australian team at the World Agility Open. So I'm sure you can guess this episode is all about the World Agility Open. Tanya is based in Brisbane, Queensland, and has herself competed at the World Agility Open 3 times in 2016, 2017, and 2018. So to start us off, Tanya, can you tell us a bit about your background with agility?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Grace. It's great to be here. So I've been active in the agility community for going on 16 years now, I guess. I have 5 dogs, 2 of which are currently competing. And I am also a training coordinator for the Brisbane Agility Dog Club. And I feel like I've been doing that role for a really long time. They won't let me leave. And I also run a small business because I work full time. So I do assist other individuals in their agility journeys in Southeast Queensland as well.
Awesome. So can you tell me, what is the World Agility Open?
I can. So the World Agility Open it's an annual event. It's obviously international. It's run in the Netherlands. And those who've been around agility for a little while will recognise the name Greg Derritt. He was the founder of this organisation and still runs it to this day. And it's really designed to showcase the highest level of agility training, really highlight that human-canine partnership and enable all dogs, whether they're pedigree or not, to compete in an international environment that is solely focused on the sport of dog agility.
And I suppose that's the difference with the FCI Agility World Championship is limited to the pedigree dogs. So this is kind of different in that way.
Yeah, it's really been designed so that it doesn't matter. So any mutt, so to speak, out there can step in the ring and have a good crack. And in fact, some of those dogs are some of the best in the world, aren't they?
So can you tell me, for next year, who is on the Australian team that's been selected?
We have members from all around Australia this year, which is really exciting, and also a team member who's based in Germany, Aussie living in Germany, so she can still qualify for the team. So I'll just go around the country then and let you know who we've got. So from Queensland, we have Sue Moon and Amber Chambers. From New South Wales, we have Isabella and her mum, Eva Bad. In Tasmania, we've got Clover Ward. And in WA, we have Sophie O'Connell. And then Emily Abrams is our Aussie living abroad at the moment in Germany. Then we have myself, of course, as team manager. So I'm not running this year, but I'm going to help coordinate everything. And another friend of ours, Tracy Ryan, she lives in England and she's agreed to be the on-site coach for us. And we can also do some training at her venue prior to the event, which would be great. And the great thing about this year's team is that both Sophie and Isabella are juniors. And this is the first time the Australian team has ever had a junior on the team. And not only do we have one, but we've got 2 of them. So it's going to be a really, really special year for us.
And how do you select the team?
Well, as you can imagine, it's sort of difficult for us to run a physical tryout where everybody might come to an event and try out to make on the team. And that's usually how it's run in a lot of the European countries. They'll select an event and say that this is the WAYO tryout for the English team, for example. Because we're so dispersed, and it's really challenging for us to do an event like that, WAYO committee have allowed us to run a process whereby individuals can express an interest in being in the team. And as part of that, they provide us a list of their agility achievements over the past 2 years, video footage of their runs, and it's great if those runs are from that masters in ANKC kind of level or advanced in ADA if you're competing across the 2 codes. Those are the ones that we are really looking for because those are the ones that, that's the top level. So you really want people to be handling dogs at that top level to make sure that they've got that skill base to be able to move forward. And then we also do give consideration to team members who have been on the team previously because they've already sort of demonstrated that they've got that skill set and that handling ability.
And who does the selecting?
That would be me. But I've also got on board a manager and coach from the previous years. So we have conversations around what that looks like. And we can take 16 team members. So it's not often that we would get 16 people put their hand up to be part of the team.
So the Australian group that's managing this with yourself, is this like a club or an association, or like who's behind it?
It is completely and utterly independent of any association. So we are not connected to ADAR. We are not connected to ANKC. It is an independent process, as is WAIO. WAIO is also not connected to any affiliation or association in the UK either.
So then tell me, how does it work? So I've heard that competitors don't take their own dogs.
They don't take their own dogs. No, that is right. That's kind of the exciting part, I guess. We have to source host dogs in Europe, generally speaking, to allow us to run their dog at that event. So that is a process of going out. Basically, I'll explain to you how I did it. We went out to various different agility Facebook pages in Europe and advertised that the Australian team was coming to WAIO and we're looking for host dogs, and anyone who has a dog that they would be willing to share with the team and become part of Team Australia could fill out a form for me, send me some video footage of their dog, have a couple of conversations with me, usually via Messenger, and then we determine whether that dog might be appropriate, and we've got a handler that might be able to work with that dog. We ask that those dogs have already got experience in being handled by a person they are unfamiliar with. That's really, really important. As you know, I think a lot of us, I have 2 dogs, and I doubt very much that they would run for somebody else in agility. One of them would have, my older guy who's retired now, he would run for anybody. He thought agility was the best thing in the world. Didn't care who was on the other end of the leash, sort of thing. But, a lot of the dogs in Europe, they've got a lot more experience with working with handlers that they're unfamiliar with. So our handlers will go over to their host dog and they will be there for a week or 2 before the event to bond and work with the dog and do some training and try to get that handling maneuver right and get all the cues right, because the cues are often different than what they might be used to with their own dog, and build that relationship before we get to the Netherlands, into the ring, and then see how it all unfolds in real life.
So then I guess what kind of preparation do the handlers do when they get over? So I assume it all starts when they actually arrive in Europe. So what does the preparation look like?
Well, I recommend the preparation actually starts before they go. So I recommend that the handlers get as much experience as they can working with other people's dogs, so that they're not just familiar with responding to how their dog works on an agility course, but they're also starting to get that experience of having to rapidly reassess what they are doing and how they are handling with somebody else's dog. So if they've got the opportunity to borrow a dog from somebody else and either train or, better still compete, get that real competitive sense of what it's going to feel like to handle a dog that you're not really familiar with, they start doing that now. A lot of the handlers that we've got on the team also sent videos through where they were already handling a dog they were not necessarily familiar with or was not their dog. So that's a really good sort of idea to get a gauge that, they're kind of happy just to pick somebody else's dog up and work with that dog and work with the dog that's in front of them instead of the dog that they think they've got. Maintaining your physical fitness is really important, and looking after any, injuries that you might be nursing through the process. You might have a rolled ankle or something like that. Really taking care of yourself and making sure that you're healthy and fit throughout that process. Because as you can probably imagine, the courses that they're running at WAIO, they're big. So you need to be able to catch your breath and plow on through or push that extra little bit of mile. So keeping your physical fitness is really important. And then practicing on courses that are going to be set if you can. So when you go onto the WAIO internet page, there is always courses posted there from previous years so that you can see previous courses. You can also see the judges that are going to be judging at this event and what their courses look like, because they post a couple of those as well. And then you've got an idea of, okay, this is the kind of course that I'm looking at. Let's see if we can set that up at club and have a crack at that and see how that's going to feel and what that's going to feel like to run a course that's, over 200 meters long, because that tests you. and see if you can you do some of those distances and some of those layering opportunities and some of that independence with your dog and how that's going to feel, so that when you're dealing with another person's dog, what that's going to look like and get a bit of a sense of how that's going to work.
So you've competed at the event before 3 times. So what is it like to be there?
What is it like to be there? It is, that's okay. That's a hard one to describe, but I'll tell you, it is like nothing that you have ever experienced in the agility world in Australia. It is electric, it is exciting, it's overwhelming, but you feel like such a sense of pride that you're representing your country. You are surrounded by the top agility handlers in the world. And sometimes you just have to sort of pinch yourself as you see somebody walk past and you go, oh my God, that was Dave Munnings. Gets a little, if you've never met Dave Munnings before, of course we had benefit of meeting Dave. We did some training with Dave prior to going to our first event. So we knew him back in 2000, and I think it was 16 when I was in the UK. And so, that there are people walking past you all the time that you might have seen on Facebook. You might Facebook friends with them and you've been following them on Facebook for a really long time, and suddenly they're standing right in front of you in the chute, ready to go in just before you're ready to go in. And that's like, wow. So it is an incredible experience. I don't think my explanation can do it justice, in all honesty. It's very, very special.
And what about the competition aspect? Like, what is it like to be a competitor from Australia in something like this?
It is a once in a lifetime experience. The environment that you go into is very different than what we're used to. So if you think about the main arena for WAIO in the main event is a big horse arena, and it's surrounded by a stadium on all 3 sides. And you come in the top and you go into this thing called the chute. And there's all of these people saying, right, competitor, you're next, you have to go in. You're standing in a chute, a little bit like some people might have experienced at the New South Wales Nationals. So you're in a chute and you're all lined up. You've got your dog with you. You're kind of really nervous because you're like, oh my God, this is thing everyone's going to be watching. It's just crazy. And then there's contraband boxes. So you have to empty every single thing that's in your pocket, put it in that box. And then you've got to make sure that you're in the right running order, because if you're not, then that causes problems. And your manager's standing there, and your host, the person who owns the dog, will be standing there next to you as well. And you'll be in the ring and you'll be ready to go. And then they say, okay, it's your turn. And you walk into the arena and you're like, holy crap, this is it. This is the moment. We're going to go. You stand in front of the jump, and there's a countdown that says 3, 2, 1, go, or a green light or something comes on, and then it's all on. And then, of course, it's over in 40 seconds, and you've had the time of your life, and you forget that anybody else exists when you're out there. It's just you and that dog, and it's amazing.
And do any other countries also borrow dogs, or is it just a unique Australian thing?
I believe that last year, Portugal also borrowed dogs, because one of the dogs that was offered to our team was waiting to see if Portugal wanted her dog again. So she said, I can't tell you whether you can have my dog or not, because I'm waiting to see if Portugal wants to run her again. So we were just waiting to see what that happens. So Portugal have a similar arrangement as well as Australia, but I don't think anybody else's. I know that the Japanese team take their own dogs, and I'm quite sure that the team from Singapore also took their own dogs. So you have to ask the WAIO committee if it is okay, if they approve you running host dogs at the event, and they will, grant or otherwise. But for us, given that it's a significant financial impost and we're traveling so much further than most other countries are, it's an easy yes for them most of the time.
Does it change the way it feels, I suppose, that you're running with somebody else's dog?
Yeah, absolutely, because the connection is different. I don't think you can expect, and I do try to manage the expectations of all of the handlers on the team, that you can't necessarily expect to walk in and have that instant connection with the dog. And I have had an experience when I was on the WAC team, that's the one associated with ADAR, where the dog that I turned up to run in Italy just went, nah, not working for you. This is not going to happen. And then that's a whole new level of stress, right? Because then you're like, what am I going to do? I'm here. And this dog, unless I was wrapped in a bodysuit made out of ham, he was not at all interested in working for me. Lovely dog, such a great, great dog. But I went to a local competition and he took 2 jumps and left the ring and said, I'm gone. My dad's over there and I'm going to go hang out with him. So it's a different experience. So this is why when we go over, we want to make the most of that bonding time that we can. If possible, you live with the host. You do all of the interactions with the dog. You feed it in the morning, you feed it at lunchtime, you feed it in the afternoon. You are the one on the end of the lead from the minute that you get there until you get to the event. And we try to do that as much as possible. And that's essentially what I did with the 3 dogs that I handled. Those dogs came and either lived with me for the period of time if I wasn't staying with the host, or I was the person that was working with the dog the entire time. So the first time was a little bit rocky. And then when I have been to Wayo for the 3 following occasions after that, excellent dogs. This is why it's really, really important to understand from the owner right from the get-go, is your dog comfortable being handled by people that it has a low level of familiarity with? Because if it's not, then it's on the probably not list. So yeah, and I always ask the hosts to make sure that they do send videos through that I can have a look at. And I want to understand the relationship the dog has with the person that's running them. Do they know them? Do they see them regularly? And one of the dogs, the host had said, this is a video of this dog walking into the ring having met this person 5 minutes before. And I was like, that's the kind of dog you want. That's the dog that's got value for the game, and that's the dog that wants to work for the person no matter what. So he's on the team.
But I suppose that kind of adds a sort of unique challenge that just those countries with those host dogs are dealing with compared to the rest of the competitors.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll be a little bit cheeky when I say this. There are people that will go to Wayo that are handling their own dogs that are on their international team, and they might eliminate in the first 3 obstacles. So if you, handling a dog you are unfamiliar with, that you've only just met, go into that ring and you get through 5 or 6 obstacles, or amazingly enough, you get a clear run, there is no feeling like that because you're sort of like, wow, I did that. And we had to overcome a huge challenge of not being familiar with the dog, and you still managed to get out there and have a good go at it. And, you know, if you get that magic clean run out of that, then that's just incredible. It's a huge achievement. It really, really, really fills your cup.
I mean, I really enjoy running other people's dogs just for fun in training, so I can see the appeal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's I think once you get familiar with the idea of handling somebody else's dog, and I'm the same. I'm not. Someone can come up to me and say, "I've just rolled my ankle. Can you run my dog?" And I'm happy to jump in and give it a shot. You know, that doesn't concern me. If it was something that concerned you, then you'd probably rethink as to whether this experience was right for you.
And so how do the rules differ? So it's an independent organization. I imagine, agility rules across the world are pretty similar, but there are key differences. So is there anything that's majorly different at Wayo?
Not really. The rules are really very similar to those in ADA. So if you sort of think about you must successfully complete every single obstacle, and also things like, there is very, very little room for error on the refusals. So with an ANKC, there does seem to be a broader application of what a refusal looks like than there is in ADA. So essentially, if you picked up the ADA rules and transitioned them over, they would be very, very similar to the rules that you would see at Wayo.
And you mentioned already that the courses are big, but what else sort of, sets apart these courses, or it makes them sort of Wayo courses?
I guess you're starting to see a lot more of what people are talking about, that natural line, and independence and layering. That's what you're seeing in the international courses more and more now, where you're seeing these. If anyone has watched recently the Swedish Open, you're seeing these phenomenal courses where people have really got to have the skills of being able to send their dog out have a couple of obstacles in between them and the obstacle that the dog is looking for, and have that, that real independence of the dog and that real skill set to be able to trust the dog will do their job whilst they quickly get into another position. And if you watch those handlers, they are running with their foot on the accelerator the entire time. They don't stop. And those are indicative of the kind of courses that the handler's going to see when they get to WAO in May.
And so, from your perspective, why do you think Australia's involvement in this kind of event is important?
It's important for Australian agility to be seen internationally, I think. So this is the way that we get to remind the world that we're here. We're so far away from everything else. And, we want to remind the world that we're here. And not only that, but that we're here and we're willing to show up at this international event and we're willing to step in the ring and have a go. It helps us learn from the rest of the world and gives our handlers a better understanding of what international agility looks like and what it feels like. So really immerse yourself in that situation. And it gives us exposure to help us connect to agility handlers in Europe that maybe might consider coming out to Australia and running workshops and seminars for us. If there's a connection that we can build there, that improves the likelihood, because, it's a big distance to travel out here from Europe. They've got to be committed and find people look after their dogs and look after their businesses and all sorts of things like that to come out here. So it's just it's a wonderful way, in my opinion, to help our agility communities in Australia grow and inspire change. As if we want to keep up with what's happening on the international circuit in agility, then we need to go there and see it and experience it and live it for that 5 days that we're lucky enough to be there.
So how can people support or follow the Australian team's journey to WAO 2026?
That is super easy. So if you're a Facebook user, that's the easiest way to do it. We have a Aussies Go to WAO 2026 Facebook page, and we post all of our information up there. And certainly when we're over there, we'll be posting a lot of information in relation to people's runs and the courses and when you can expect to see our handlers out there. We have lots of fundraising activities that we post on that page as well. So there is fundraising activities happening all around the country. It's sort of difficult for us to run a centralized fundraising process. So this year, a little bit different than how we might have done it in previous years, since we're so spread out across Australia, is Sophie in WA is running a raffle at the moment. We have 2 events that are happening in Southeast Queensland through that Christmas, New Year period that people can get involved in there. There is a raffle involved if people want to get involved in that. And we also have some sponsorship arrangements. So if businesses are looking to partner with us, then they can reach out, have a chat, and we've got a couple of different packages available. We've already got Canine Pharmaceuticals on board with us, so they're a sponsor, and also the Dog Agility Club of New South Wales have decided to sponsor our uniforms for us. So that's given us a little bit. It's pretty challenging in this, financial climate at the moment with fundraising. There's lots of people competing for the same fundraising dollar. So I think it's very normal for our team members to be funding themselves to sort of get over there and everything. And what we're looking for is a little bit of help with uniforms and entry fees, really. That's what fundraising dollars go towards.
Is it being live streamed somewhere?
It is being live streamed, and that is through Four-Legged Flicks. So it's free, I'm pretty sure. You don't have to pay anything to watch it. You can just tune in. We will post the link to the events closer to the time so that everybody can just jump on our Facebook page and then navigate their way through.
And an important question I haven't asked is, when is it?
It is in May. So the event itself starts on the 13th and runs through until the 18th.
Well, that is very exciting. I wish the Australian team all the best. And thank you so much, Tanya, for coming onto the show.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me.
This has been Flat Out Agility. Be kind to dogs.